EAGLES, Eagles.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome into a Monday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, Johnny Mack, John McMullen. John, we got a great week ahead of us, the last week of the offseason until the Philadelphia Eagles are on the football field. We are 8 days away from them reporting to camp. We are 9 days away from them taking the practice field, and we are 52 days away from that opening kickoff. J Mac, how you doing on this Monday morning, brother? How was your weekend?
Doing well. How was my weekend? It was a very busy weekend. Today's an embargo day for people that know. You've seen about 100 Nick Sirianni stories this morning. A certain embargo was lifted, so that's why you see all that. So I was working most of the weekend. Kind of flew by. Not much R&R, but it's really the start of it has already started for us, the people that cover the Eagles. So while they don't report till the 22nd, which is a week from tomorrow, still underway for us, so to speak.
Yeah, no doubt about it. John, doesn't feel like it ever stopped being underway for me. For me, that's kind of part of the nature of the beast, but that's all good. John, anything top of mind on the embargo being lifted on Sirianni? I saw the story you put up about his response to the Jalen Hurts criticism. Anything else out there that Nick's, about the embargo that was lifted on the Sirianni intel or the Sirianni conversations that were had that you want to share with the great people of Birds 365?
Well, I think there's a lot of interesting aspects. His messaging, which we talked about, there's sort of like a soft, you're going to see that all over the place. There's sort of like a soft ban, not an official ban, but a soft ban at the NovaCare complex on the repeat word. So you're going to hear that from fans a lot, but you're not going to hear it inside from the Eagles' perspective. And that's, understandable from the standpoint of trying to stay in the moment. So a lot of these things you've heard as philosophy is what has gotten the Eagles to this point to begin with. So it's not shipped it off from that standpoint. More interesting tidbits like, Peyton Manning spoke to the leadership committee in the offseason. That to me was very interesting. Jaylen had mentioned publicly prior, but he had talked to, being a Jordan brand, he's got access to Jordan himself and Derek Jeter and people like that. He spoke to them. Michael Johnson with Nick Sirianni, Olympic gold medalist. So they've gone to a lot of successful people to figure out how to handle success because it's different. Adversity, you're going to have it. You almost expect it. Not that it's easy to deal with, but everybody understands you have to deal with it. Whether it's in your personal life or in your professional life, it's going to come. A lot of people just gloss over handling success, and it could be just as damaging if you
harder sometimes, John.
Yeah, as Nick said, he always uses the perfume analogy, but he mentioned if you're looking back and patting yourself on the back, error, he called it. Just as you're looking ahead and saying repeat, error. That's sort of the mentality. That's sort of the path forward, which is probably not going to surprise people because that's what it's been. And that's what, he calls it sustained success. He doesn't want to use the word repeat. And they've already had that. The whole idea, and this really goes back to Andy Reid, to be honest, in 1999. The whole idea is to be good, so when the stars align, you're in a position to take advantage of it. And that's what happened to the Eagles last year.
Yep.
Stars
aligned. And Derek Jeter, though, John, those are two good names to talk to about repeating success.
Yeah, and not everybody has access to them. Jaylen does, so that part of it was interesting to me. I also tried to ask Nick about his off-season projects. He's very passionate about. He's since he's gotten here, he's always talked about his off-season, and this might be only interesting to me, but he's always talked about it, and he gives projects to various coaches. And I'll be honest, I tried to glaze him a little bit, and I almost got him. I said, "Do you want to, I asked him basically, "You're passionate about these things. Can you share anything with us?" And he started, and then he caught himself. And
You almost got it with a little bit of glaze, John.
I did it. I did it purposefully. If Nick is listening, I did it purposefully. I almost got him, but to his credit, I didn't get him. And but that's the thing about Nick Sirianni. There's a lot of people talk about winning outside the margins. It's become a cliche, do the little things. He practices it. Like he caught himself. Like if there's one person reading that asshole McMullen outside and saying they know we're working on this, one of the few advantages you have week one is, if you want to roll out something new, if you want to do something different, that nobody knows you're going to do it. It's basically an unscouted look. I think one of them might be the fullback and, the big packages with Johnny Wilson at receiver and just, running it down people's throats. Not a lot, but more than we've seen it. I think that's going to happen, but I can't say it for certain. I was hoping Nick would let us in on that, but he wants that little tiny advantage for however long it is. And yeah, he wouldn't bite, but I gave it a shot.
Do you have any idea what some of those even if they were in the past of I'm trying to think of an example. Is it football related? Is it personal life related? What kind of passion projects are you talking? Or do you have no idea because he's been
numb
about it?
It's definitely does a lot of studies. It's one of the reasons why the Eagles have been ahead of it from a game management perspective. He basically likes to give all his assistants a project in the off season to sort of break down what other teams are doing, and sort of try to find a tweak that can be an advantage for the Eagles. Like I said, this year, you saw some of the tweaks, and a lot of them are just coaching changes as well. But sometimes the tush push is the best example. They didn't use it in 2021. But he sort of used it a little bit in Indianapolis. I think people don't realize what Jacoby Brissett, and he sort of started thinking about it. And, one of the reasons why is because he did a study. It might go the other way. As I said, his teams have now overcommitted to stopping it. Who knows? They might do what I said and say spread the field out and let Jalen Hurts work. So it could be something as simple as that. But he always does those little things, and he's very passionate about it. But sort of like Vic, he doesn't want anybody in and let anybody in on the secrets.
Yeah, no doubt about it. John, another couple of things we got to talk about. We got the great Jeff Kerr coming up today. I'm looking forward to that. I want to welcome and thank everybody for being here on a Monday morning, everybody. Football season. It's so close, we can almost taste it, everybody. So next week, they'll be on the football field. Next Tuesday, they report. Next Wednesday, they take the field for their first training camp practice. Johnny Mack will be live and in attendance. So stay tuned, by the way, for Birds 365 updates, because obviously mid-July, very hot in the Northeast. So they might move practice up. If they do move practice up in the morning, or they're a morning type of show or training camp, we will push our show to the evening. So stay tuned, and we'll let you guys know when we're doing Birds 365s all throughout training camp. So we appreciate everybody for being here. John, we got plenty of stuff to talk about. We're almost down to the bottom of the top 25 list that you and Ed have done. We are down to number 4. Number 5 last week came in Jalen Hurts. Number 6, Jordan Mailata. Number 7, Cooper DeJean. Number 8, Landon Dickerson. I will rattle off the rest of those names to you. But also another thing that came out today, and we'll talk about Nick Sirianni some more with Jeff Kerr. Another thing that came out today, Jeremy Fowler put up there is like a poll of coaches and GMs in the league.
It's coaches, executives, and scouts. So basically, personnel people. But there's a little bit difference from the standpoint of, executives versus scouts. But yeah, he came out. He does it every year at every position. Came out with the quarterbacks this year today, which is interesting because the embargo lifted and Jalen Hurts, which I also wrote about it, SI.com/NFL/Eagles, his defense of Jalen Hurts, because he was asked about, the mentality around, at least in some quarters, that he was along for the ride with the most talented roster in football. And Nick immediately said, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Basically, like right off the. So I don't know if he was prepared for it, but anyway, I think it's more relevant now that list came out, because that list came out with the top 10 quarterbacks, and predictably Jalen Hurts was not in the top 5. I've been warning people about that with scouts, and they don't consider him top 5. A little bit lower though than I expected, at 9, specifically though behind Jared Goff, which to me, like, you could put him at 8 and I'd have no problem. I can't put him behind Jared Goff. But, I think a lot of people don't understand. Most teams, when you bring coaches and execs, not necessarily scouts, but when you bring coaches and execs into it, which I've also explained, most teams don't want to play or have no desire to play like the Eagles play.
Right.
So that factors into
I
it.
think that's an underrated fact that people might not be ready to accept in Philly.
Yeah, no question about it.
Yeah.
Or at least can't wrap their heads around it. Like, they're the best team, and one of the best teams certainly in the modern generation, I think. So why wouldn't you want to copy that? Well, one, because it's very difficult to copy. It'd be a year-long process. And two, we talk about people probably roll their eyes. They roll their eyes at Sirianni. They roll their eyes at me probably for saying increase the margin of error. Most teams don't want to play this way.
Right. 9 feels egregious, though. Holy crap. 9? And Jaden Daniels was number 5. So that's a feather in your cap, as we've debated Jaylen versus Jaden this summer.
I talked to, I don't talk to as many coaches and execs as Jeremy does. But I probably talked to more scouts, which to me is even more relevant, because those are the guys who get in the nitty gritty, the nuts and bolts of particular players. And also there is some jealousy when you're the Super Bowl champions with,
I agree with that. Yeah.
With executives, especially. There is some jealousy, not so much with scouts. I don't think there's that much. So I think they're a better sounding board. I think they're a better resource. And yeah, he's not top 5. Considered to be top 5. And he's very good.
Yeah. I mean, he clearly wasn't in this thing, but the scouts aren't always right. I mean, let's be real. Look at how many missed draft picks there are in the NFL.
It's not an exact science.
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, there's a subjectivity to it. Obviously, there's opinion. There's, different people analyze different ways. So I get all that, but there's no perfect science, as you just said. And I don't know. I think they're wrong on this one. I'm sorry, but 9 seems egregious to me.
Yeah, well, I think one player stood out to me. It's like, but I think that's explained by,
who did they have at 6, 7, and then you said 8 was Goff.
Let me pull it up real quick.
Sorry, I don't know. Was it behind a paywall? I don't think it loaded.
Yeah, it's behind a paywall.
Everything's behind a paywall nowadays, John.
Yeah, I know.
Drives me crazy. I got most of them, but
so one, well, believe me, I wouldn't pay for it. But one is,
it's a business expense. Write it off, J-Mag.
One is Patrick Mahomes, which he shouldn't be one at this stage. But again, reputation, things like that. 2, Josh Allen, who was the MVP. That's not a surprise. 3, Joe Burrow. Actually, I think that was a little low. I think scouts would put him at 1. I know scouts would put him at 1. But he's number 3. Lamar's number 4, which that top 4, whatever order you want to put them in, you can put them in any order you want. That's pretty much a consensus, as much as you get around.
Which I would agree with. I think the only difference is I think Jaylen is in that category in a very different way, but in that category. But those top 4, there's no doubt those are 4 of the best quarterbacks.
And it's rare you see that, by the way, where it's like a legitimate consensus.
Right.
Like I might talk to 8 to 10 guys, and not one of them had a different name in the top 4, which is extremely rare.
Right.
Extremely rare. So number 5 was Jaden Daniels. And again, I've talked about, I know how much people in the league love him from a talent perspective. But I mean, if you want to bring longevity into it, obviously he doesn't have that. Conversely, 6 has that and is probably descending. And that's Matthew Stafford. Not probably, is descending. Not what he once was, but still he's much more well regarded inside the league, I think, than outside the league. Like everybody inside the league. I used to tell Jody this. They freaking love the guy. Love him. And I think people outside the league, it was a slog to get there when he was in Detroit. And then he won the Super Bowl in Los Angeles. And now everybody's like, yeah, he's great. And he is great, but he's 37 and he's not what he once was. 7 is Justin Herbert, who everybody loves. And he's getting better with a better coach. So I think that's a name to keep an eye on. 8 is the one I had a problem with, and that's Jared Goff. To me, he's a complete system quarterback. We'll see if, without Ben Johnson, how that translates. They still have a great offensive line, even without Frank Ragnow, compared to most teams. Maybe not the Eagles, but compared to most teams. They have great skill position players. They have everything in place. So we're going to learn a lot about Jared Goff this season. And Jalen Hurts was number 9. Baker Mayfield was number 10. And CJ Stroud fell out. Jordan Love, they were the next ones. I think both had down seasons from what they had the year prior. So they'll be right outside. And then others receiving votes were Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers still getting some love. Tua, this is absurd to me. And Bo Nix, which is kind of absurd to me. But nonetheless, there you have it. And don't give Jeremy hate mail. It's a poll of other
it's not
people.
Jeremy. He's just the putting it out there. He's just
the messenger. It's
a
poll of other people. Not so. And again, if you don't like it, just turn to the next list.
Well, I do think there's some, certain people can make lists and it's easy to turn on. It's easy to turn the page. When you get a list from, scouts and coaches and execs, I think people will look at that a little bit longer. And I think that makes sense. But again, I would point to everybody and say they're not always correct. All right. They've never been always correct. That's part of the nature of the beast. John, we got Jeff Kerr coming up. I don't know if we're going to be able to get through where we are. We got Jeff checking in now. So maybe we'll push the top 25 countdown to a little bit later on in the show today. But let's just give out number 4. All right, let's just give out number 4, and then we'll go to Jeff Kerr. Number 5 was Jalen Hurts last week. Number 6 was Jordan Mailata. 7, Cooper DeJean. How about that? Coop coming in at 7. Number 8, Landon Dickerson. Number 9, Devontae Smith. Number 10, Quinyon Mitchell. Maybe the most egregious on the list for you and Ed, John, is Zach Bond at number 11. Juergens at 12. Goddard at 13. Nolan Smith at 14. 15, Reed Blankenship. 16, Nakobe Dean. 17, Jordan Davis. 18 was Moro Ajomo. 19 was Jalix Hunt. 20 was Jake Elliott. 21 was Keely Ringo. 22, Jahan Dotson. 23, Adoree Jackson. 24, Matt Pryor. 25 was Jahad Campbell and Drew Makuba in a tie. And number 4, Johnny Mac, is who?
Wow, you caught me. I was reading Jaylen Hurts stuff. Sorry.
Sorry, I was rattling off the list. We're down to number 4. Who do you got?
Now I got to pull up the list. I was counting on you. I got caught. Number 4, I was debating who was number 4. And it was Jaylen Carter, who was the number 1 defensive player on the list, which you start talking about last year's team and say, well, the defense was better than the offense, but the top 3 players are on offense. So, how does that work out? Well, they lost a bunch of good defensive players that would be on this list. Not this high, but and Jaylen Carter, you could argue, should be above that. But he's still young. Second team All-Pro in his second year. And Vic Fangio said it best. I forget, maybe Jeff remembers. Somebody said, might have been Trotter Sr. said, he doesn't even know what he's doing yet. And he's that good. And Vic kind of agreed with it. Yeah, he doesn't know. And he's already that good. So Vic had said, the good thing about Jaylen Carter is he played very well for us last year, and he's got a lot of room to improve. And people around the NFL should be scared of that thought because as the technique and the fundamentals get better and better and better, look out. As I said, this is the most talented Eagles defender, regardless of position, in many, many years. You probably have to go back to Reggie White. That's how gifted he is.
That's a big statement right there. I mean, we've had some great players.
Yeah,
on this.
That's how gifted he is. Doesn't mean he's going to live up to those gifts. Joel Embiid, 76ers. But that's the kind of physical gifts he has. And it would not surprise me if he were number 1 on this list for many years to come, as early as this season.
No doubt about it. Johnson, we got 3 players left. It's Lane Johnson, it's Saquon Barkley, and it is, who am I missing? Why am I? Oh, and AJ Brown. Obviously. Yep. So those are the 3 players left. We'll give you guys the order of how they come in, but man, we got a good list, good list of team here. And we got the great Jeff Kerr. Last week, we had no Jeff Kerr. Jeff Kerr, Birds 365 was not the same last week without you, my friend. Let's go to our main man, Jeff Kerr, joining us right now from CBS Sports. He joins us on the show. You can follow him at Jeff Kerr CBS and read all his work at cbssports.com. Jeff, welcome back to the show, my man. How you doing on this Monday morning?
Week 2 of a 2-week vacation, Zander. Can't beat it.
But he's still taking time out to visit with us, so many thanks, Jeff. And happy embargo day. You figured it out.
That's because he saw the freaking list and said Jalen Hurts at number 9. I got to get on Birds 365.
Well, I think that came out this morning, so I don't know. Did it?
Yeah, it is happy embargo day, John McMullen. I just happened to.
Embargo day.
Yeah, I turned on and I'm like, great article by this guy. What great exclusive stuff. I'm like, yeah, okay. Sure.
Jeff, what'd you take away from some of the embargoed stuff you read this morning, or any intel you have yourself you want to share?
Can I be honest? I didn't read it. I just happened to go through the
Well,
timeline.
you should read mine. It's semi.
No, I'm gonna read yours at some point, John.
It's semi exclusive.
Yeah.
It's about 14, 15.
There's about 4 guys I'm gonna read, and they're 4 guys I probably talked to the most on the Eagles beat. You and Ed are 2 of them. You can guess the other 2, John.
I can, and they're also very good as well. There's a lot of good people, but you're going to see a bunch of Nick Sirianni stuff this morning, so be prepared.
Yeah, and you're going to see a lot of people aggregating Nick Sirianni stuff this morning.
I don't know if I quite understand, like the purpose of embargoing this. Like, and all due respect to everybody that put out, John. Obviously, I've read your article; it was good, but it doesn't seem like anything like groundbreaking. Like what's the point? Nick said that it's bullshit that people criticize Jalen Hurts. That doesn't feel like it needs to be embargoed for me. What am I missing?
You're not missing anything. It doesn't need to be embargoed. It's just something that's done as a way to generate sort of stuff as training camp approaches, because we don't have access.
Yeah,
we don't have access.
Yeah, training camp's next week. This is a good time to do it. The Phillies are on. You can focus on the Eagles for a couple days if you choose to do that.
Little PR campaign, yeah. Phillies are off All-Star break right now, right? Until Friday, Jeff?
Yeah, they're off till Friday. I can go on and on about the All-Star game. I did it on podcast last night, but this is Birds 365. So if we want to complain about an All-Star game, we'll complain about the Pro Bowl.
We'll do that. We'll do that another show, Jeff.
but yeah.
By the way, I could spend two plus hours complaining about every All-Star game.
Oh, I could too. I think you and I have done that before.
Yeah,
they are pretty brutal.
I figured it out. I used to love them. I figured it out, Chip. I used to love all the All-Star games when I was a kid. And I'm like, boy, I'm a curmudgeon, which most people would say I am. But I'm like, why do I hate All-Star? Because I legitimately hate them. And it clicked one day. I was like, it's for kids. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
It's for kids. And I don't know if kids watch baseball anymore, but back when they did, it was really exciting. I loved baseball when I was young. And it was really exciting. And I just grew up and I was like, this is a waste of time. Why are they doing this?
I was asked to predict who's going to win the home run derby tonight. And you know what I said? Who's in it?
Yeah.
I have no idea who's in it.
Yeah, I
will say I've been liking the MLB this year a lot more than I have in recent years. Now that's just because I've watched it a lot more, but I think that I don't know. I feel an upswing coming for the MLB.
I believe it's been trending upward. I know people don't like the new rules and they don't like the pitch clock and they don't like the ghost runner. Fine.
I hate the ghost runner.
The ghost runner's brutal.
It is brutal. I understand why they do it though. With the way these offenses are, they might not get a hit for 19 innings at this rate.
Yeah, teach people to hit the right way. But
that's the problem. They don't hit the right way.
Yeah. Go tell the Phillies pitching coach or the hitting coach that. I mean,
it's not. I mean, it's that's where the nerds have ruined the game because numbers are everything, and they figured out. Well, you're more likely to hit a 3-run home run, so swing for the fences than play station-to-station baseball. So the days of, hey, somebody got on, maybe you'll steal second, bunt him to third, and you have a sacrifice fly. Like that to me is awesome. Baseball execution.
Same here. Well, it's like the Phillies, right? They can't get a runner in from third with 1 out.
Yeah,
sack fly,
because they don't play small ball at all.
Yeah. You have a guy that analytics people will tell you that's an average player in Bryce's stat when he really isn't. He's a 230 hitter with no power. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, well, let me just stop us right here, all right? Because I don't want to get into the All-Star break. I don't want to go on Philly.
Let Jeff and
we'll pick up baseball post All-Star break.
Hey, can we talk about how Jalen Hurts was ranked 9th?
Yeah.
Come on. I would not want any of those execs on my team.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm like, hey, just because it says execs doesn't mean they're always right, all right?
No. Well, and I want to emphasize it's executives, coaches, and scouts. But I do think, and I said this, Zander, before you came on, I do think there's jealousy amongst executives specifically, especially when you win the Super Bowl. There's some of that. Then there's some amongst coaching. Very little with scouts, though. And those are the guys I try to lean on the most when it comes to personnel. Look, I've been telling people on the show, people in the league don't consider him a top 5 quarterback. Now, I believe he should be behind Jared Goff? No. Everybody else? I put him ahead of Matthew Stafford, but I get why they don't.
John, do you believe it's one of my theories? I call it the Tom Brady syndrome. These people just can't admit that a guy that wasn't a first-round pick is actually good.
I think there's some of that for sure.
No, I think nobody had a problem admitting Tom was good at some point. Maybe that's a little bit.
But it took a long time for them to admit that.
Yeah,
right. And I wonder if Jaylen will reach that point, eventually, where the winning and the accolades overcome the desire to see talented quarterback play, and however they quantify that.
Yeah, I like who of that other than Stafford, who's descending, but is great. You could still argue him, but certainly not what he was at his height. And Goff, like you got a problem with the other 6?
Herbert, I got a problem with Herbert.
I see Herbert.
I think Herbert's a lot of bark and not a lot of bite.
So you're telling me you have a big problem with Justin Herbert being listed
over Jalen Hurts? Yes, I do.
In the NFL. Yeah,
I have a problem with him over Jaylen.
I can't get on board with that.
I think Justin Herbert's really good. But I think if you're looking at the totality of it, again, we got to do playoff success here. I mean, there's 2 playoff games now. It's really hasn't been the regular season. Justin
Awful.
Herbert.
He's been
Well, again, it's funny because Nick had defended Jaylen during the embargo session that you're seeing, and I wrote about it, about some of the similar thought processes. But I think if you read Jeremy's piece, like he explained, the thought process behind where Jaylen is, and it's something I've explained. It shouldn't be new to people for a long time. And basically, I'm trying to pull it up as we're speaking. So, some people think, one guy had him top 5. It's one of the game's most accurate passers, ranking first in completion percentage over expected. He throws a beautiful deep ball, which I didn't understand. Everybody remembers our back and forth, me and Jaylen, when I was
I remember that.
He throws a great deep ball, and he's like, they say I can't. I literally, what are you talking about? Everybody loves your deep ball. And that was amplified here because people recognize how good his deep ball is. But here it is, and this is it, and this is all it is. When he was asked to be a high volume thrower in 2023, he struggled to take care of the football. Now he cut that number dramatically, but he had 361 throws. So until he proves to be a high volume thrower at an effective rate, he's always going to be outside of the group that people want him to be in. And I think it's ironic because if he does be a high volume thrower, that means Nick mentioned his selfishness. That means you become selflessness. That means you become selfish, and you probably win less, and the goalposts get moved. And because you win less, you're knocked down.
Perfect example. Ask the Cincinnati Bengals what happens when you have a high volume quarterback.
Well, exactly. And they have the best high volume quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, he's a stud, and you can't deny that. But a lot of people, I think it's what gets a lot of people upset. Yes, I think we all know Joe Burrow is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts, but you're disrespecting Jalen Hurts because Joe Burrow throws for X amount of yards and X amount of touchdowns. That's all well and good. What's been the Bengals' record with him doing this?
Oh, forget Joe Burrow for a second. I'm fine with Joe Burrow at the top of the board.
Well, yeah, we are, but
Justin Herbert. By the way, the other one, Jaden Daniels. I mean, 1 year. I know the kid's got talent. I'm not saying he's not a great quarterback. 1 year, and scouts got him 5 in the NFL.
You know what bothers me with Jaden Daniels?
People love him.
I thought he had a fine NFC Championship game. Don't get me wrong. But people are acting like he did this otherworldly, godly game. And I'm like, dude, he was okay. The
only thing I remember from him in that game, Jeff, was him dancing in the end zone down 3 touchdowns. I thought that was the goofiest thing I'd ever seen in my life.
That's a bad look. That's a bad look.
By the way, John and I were done our story at that point.
Yeah. Well, I said but I'd look at it a little bit differently. I said going into that game, Washington doesn't belong in this game.
And they don't. And you know what? I'm going to say it right now. I do not think the Commanders are going to be as good as everybody thinks they are.
Well, I don't think they are either.
Yeah, I've been saying that all summer.
But the point is they overachieved. I think it's ironic because Nick Sirianni and what he said, he was asked about the thought process that some have, but I don't know that a lot of people have. And certainly I think it's more fan-based than people in the industry that think Jaylen was along for the ride, basically, with the NFL's best team. And Nick said, I think that's bullshit. But baked into the league, and he went on to talk about, baked into his explanation is also why people think Joe Burrow and some of the names that haven't won, and Justin Herbert, why they think they're that good. So you have to look at it both ways if you're being honest. So again, Nick said many, many times. You name me a team that wins and wins consistently that doesn't have good players around. You name me, and I'll speak on my end, like you name me as a coach that doesn't have good players around him that wins. And he said the same thing about quarterbacks. So, it's not an even playing field. It's not a vacuum. You don't say Jalen Hurts is better than Joe Burrow. You can, and many people do because he won a Super Bowl. He's got the best team in the NFL last year. Consider this. The Eagles lost Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Mekhi Becton. Some people, I would say most people, still think they have the best roster in football.
A lot of people are thinking that. They're still really good.
Well, but that's fine. Why is that a knock on Hurts, though? Because
It's
all the
not
other
a knock. What I'm saying is it's dumb.
No, I know
to
what you're
say-
saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm
But
saying, no,
what-
I think, and John, I'm not saying you. I'm saying I think there is a percentage of people that use that against the quarterback. Oh, you have a great team, so what you did isn't that impressive.
But this is what
Versus-
bothers me.
You just
about-
talked about though.
but-
Joe
about
Burrow
that.
doesn't win because he doesn't have a good team. Josh
But-
Allen doesn't win because he doesn't have a great team. Every other quarterback doesn't win without a great team. Jalen wins with a great team, and it's like, oh, the quarterback didn't do that much.
But it works.
I don't get that.
But it works both ways. Like you guys are very intelligent football people, and you say it shouldn't be a mark against Jalen Hurts. I agree with you 100%. Then why is it a mark to say Joe Burrow doesn't win? If Joe Burrow had the Eagles team and didn't win, then it's a mark against them.
I agree, but I try not to use that against those guys. But I agree
Yeah.
with you. There is a line of thinking there.
I
It does have
think
to
what-
go both
I
ways.
think what bothers me is now, and again, Eagles fans get way too caught up in this shit. Dak Prescott would have 55 touchdowns in this system. Okay.
Well, that's bullshit.
And I said, okay, fine. Keep in mind, you root for the team that your quarterback during your dynasty was the ultimate game manager that rose in the playoffs and is a Hall of Famer in Troy Aikman. The Eagles might have that in Jalen Hurts, and I don't think that certain fan bases can accept that. But Eagles fans get way too caught up in it.
I also mentioned this, Jeff, and I want to run it by you. I mentioned this to Zander. A second part of this, certainly with executives, is most teams do not want to play the way the Eagles play.
No, not at all.
So it's baked in that they want a higher volume thrower.
The Eagles went against the grain last year and won a Super Bowl, and
Yes.
that pisses people off.
Well,
I mean,
don't know
last
if
year,
it-
last year we talked about it. They only had what was the game? They only had 67 net passing yards. I'm like, did they win?
Well, yeah,
Well,
but
John, to your point about that, do you think that's more about obviously when you have a quarterback that is elite from the pocket, it gives you your biggest improvement in your margin of odds or your margin for error, in pursuing
Yeah.
victory. I understand that, but is it also just a lot harder to build like the Eagles did, and that's why most
Yes.
don't want to do
It-
it?
it's,
You know,
it's
I
a-
mean-
yes, it is a
You gotta have a great
multi-year
GM. You gotta have the
process.
right quarterback. You gotta have no
Yes.
egos. You gotta have all. You know what I mean? That's a tough thing to get in a professional.
It is
locker room.
a multi-year process, and they don't want to do it.
I mean, teams
And-
teams are too afraid to trade first round picks for AJ Brown. They want an AJ Brown, but they don't want to give up what it takes to get an AJ Brown. And then they don't want to sign an AJ Brown. I mean, look at the Bengals right now. Bengals have a loaded top end of their roster, right? They paid Jamar Chase, they paid T. Higgins, they paid Joe Burrow. They're having problems paying Trey Hendrickson. They had to let Jesse Bates go. They had to let X player go. And I've been on Bengals radio stations before. They've agreed with me, like, you can't keep everybody. And you know what they fire back? Well, the Eagles find a way to do it.
And they don't, they made some very difficult decisions this offseason, but they certainly, the Bengals are an outlier because the Bengals are
Yeah, they're
just
broke.
the cheapest
in
team in football.
NFL terms.
They are cheap. Yeah.
And it's a shame that Joe Burrow's stuck in that, but he is. So, I mean, whatever, he might end up being Dan Marino. People still recognize Dan Marino as a great quarterback. And, he got to one Super Bowl and didn't win it. Maybe that happens to Joe Burrow because he's just in a bad organization. That's part of it. Life's not fair. Jalen's in a good organization. I don't hold that against him. But I do think when I'm trying to evaluate the quarterback position, and that's why I say quarterback evaluation is broken, you do have to factor in everybody's not playing with the same group.
Right.
And the ultimate team game, as Nick Sirianni calls it. So when he says, and basically and he said it, forget about the embargo. He said that part of it multiple times. One of the reasons I love football so much is that it takes everybody to accomplish your goals. You name great quarterbacks. You can go ahead and start naming great quarterbacks. I'll tell you, they're great receivers and they're great defenses. Whether it's Tom Brady with Gronk or his defenses early on, Mahomes with Kelsey, Steve Young with Jerry Rice, the list goes on and on and on.
Well, Joe Montana with Jerry Rice. Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, Dwight Clark, Roger Craig.
Nobody wins a Super Bowl with bad teams. Nobody. Quarterback.
I'm trying to think of bad teams that won the Super Bowl, and I can't think of one.
Because they don't exist. There have been bad quarterbacks or mediocre quarterbacks to win Super Bowls. But bad teams don't win Super Bowls.
I try to tell people this story there because, well, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. I'm like, yes, he did. You know why? Because he didn't turn the football over. Tony Banks turned the football over. That's why they went to Trent Dilfer.
Yep. And they had great defense.
All-time defense.
Yeah. So
I mean, people are having a hard time, and it's funny because I'm trying to put this in words, but Saquon's comments that the last year's Eagles were a top 5 team. I have some numbers that can back that up with just what they did historically in the postseason, stuff we talk about with historic teams, and people just don't want to buy it. But
yeah, well, and Saquon's a student of the game. John talks about that all the time. He's a guy that really knows the history of the game.
Well, I kind of split it up. I don't think it's even fair to compare like the Eagles with the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s.
Yeah, I agree with John on that. Yeah,
back then, before free agency, there was no free agency. You got a core together, and they were there for a decade. And you see all those Hall of Famers. Now, the athletes are better today, but the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s,
they were dominant.
To me, that's the best team of all time. But I look at it from the free agency era on, and they're one of the best teams in their era. No doubt about it.
That's what we had one of our historians at CBS, Brian DeArter. You guys have had him on here before.
Yeah, yep.
And Brian ranked the Eagles, last year's Eagles, #1 since 2000. And he got a lot of heat for it, and he presented a really good argument of why that is. He said, look at what they did in the NFC Championship game. Look at what they did in the Super Bowl. This is the highest level of football. He said they had number 1 defense. This is the first team to have the rushing champion, #1 defense win a Super Bowl since 92 cap. He just listed stuff on, and he said, there aren't too many teams I could say that. And he said, I put the 2007 Patriots at #1, but they didn't win.
Yeah. Well, again, I bring up those names. The Patriots to me are the best team I've ever seen. And they didn't win.
It's crazy. They didn't win.
Yeah.
But if you look at those names I mentioned, Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Mekhi Becton. So if you lose Joe Green, L.C. Greenwood, Mel Blount, Donnie Shell, that's what's so, I look at Nick Sirianni's winning percentage, which I believe is the 3rd best of the Super Bowl era. But you have to go back
all time. You got to go back to Guy Chamberlain.
Yeah, you have to go back to John and the Super Bowl era. You have to go back to Madden, and I think George Allen is the other one.
George Allen's up there. Yeah.
And again, both of them are before free agency. So in the free agency era, no one has won at a higher rate than Nick Sirianni. No one.
And you know what, John? It bothers me with Nick Sirianni. I think he's disrespecting coach rankings.
Same thing as Jaylen.
Yeah. Oh, his team's loaded. Well,
I agree.
Okay. I've coached. Look, I haven't coached professional sports. I've coached loaded teams that didn't win shit.
Right. Jeff, do this for me because we're talking about this list. Jaylen came in at number 9. You had Jaden Daniels, number 5. Matt Stafford 6, Herbert 7, Goff 8, Hurts 9. I think that's just way too low.
Goff,
these
hey, let's see how Goff does without Ben Johnson this year.
We'll say that's going to be interesting. Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Justin Herbert. Give me your 1, 2, 3.
Well, Jalen Hurts got the championship. I'm sorry. So that jumps him. He performs in the playoffs. He manages the game. He doesn't turn the football over. He's got a good yards per attempt. Look, I think James Taylor's going to be a top 3 quarterback. Let's not crown him yet.
Let's Dennis Green him. I love the kid, so I'm going to crown him. But
By the way, that's the best post-game speech ever, and I knew exactly what he meant. No one did. I did.
Oh, I knew. I know.
Yeah.
Denny. Well, I knew Denny. Denny's great.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know him way better than I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. But again, and that's an example. If you think about Denny Green's, and now I'm going to go on a tangent. You think about Denny Green's impact on the game as, one of the first African-American coaches. And, if that 98 team wins, he's
a Hall of Fame.
They basically let him in.
Randall Cunningham's in the Hall of Fame at that team.
But he spawned Tony Dungy. He spawned Bill. Why can't I think of his name? Not Bill Bellick. Brian Billick.
Yeah, Brian Billick.
Boy, I'm getting more and more senior moments. But Brian Billick.
It's in your head, John. You're good.
Yeah. Well, because I know Brian very well. That's just insane. So to create those two guys, and by the way, Tony Dungy, who's in the Hall of Fame, will tell you Denny Green deserves to be in the Hall of Fame before he did. But if you don't win, nobody recognizes it.
I remember this when they were talking about when Lovie Smith and Tony Dungy met in the Super Bowl. They were the first 2 African-American head coaches to go to the Super Bowl. And I'm like, it's a shame. We should have had one in the 90s with Denny Green. We never got him.
Yeah. But yeah.
History, John, history is written by the victors.
That's true.
Yeah,
but,
it is.
And there's a lot of misreporting in history because it is written by
those who win. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's funny. We don't talk about who lost wars.
Yeah.
Are we talking about the repercussions of who lost wars?
I mean, you can go into a way bigger topic than football on that comment. My winners.
I always talk about the Buffalo Bills who went to 4 straight Super Bowls being more impressive than a one and done Super Bowl
It's
team.
true, though.
Nobody agrees with me, but that takes consistency and perseverance, everything.
I got roasted. I got roasted when the Chiefs were down 40-6. I said, look, I know this is really bad for the Chiefs right now, but the run that they have been on, the fact that they even competed for a 3rd straight Super Bowl championship is impressive. They were never good. Give me a break.
It's unbelievable.
They weren't even the best team in their conference this year.
And what I say about the Bills, and I said, now we're up to 59. There are 59 Super Bowl champions. There's only one team that ever went to 4 consecutive Super Bowls.
Buffalo Bills. Not even the Steelers did it.
Nope.
They went to 4.
Listen, it is impressive, but how many of the players on those Bills teams would have given up a couple of those appearances?
All of them.
All of them. They've admitted that in the documentary.
Yeah, we had
all
Jim
of them.
Kelly on the National Football Show many times. He said the same thing.
To me, it's not the same argument. I mean, because again, it's the accomplishment. It's what Big talked about. It's what AJ talked about. Everybody wants the accomplishment, but if Scott Norwood makes a damn field goal, we're not having this conversation. They might lose 3, but they have 1.
It's also goofy stuff like Thurman Thomas not knowing where his helmet is. Like it's weird stuff, and they've all said this. Like it probably just wasn't meant to be.
Well, think about the Giants and Eli Manning. Think about Eli Manning. To me, I say it all the time. He's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. Ultimately, I think he will be because of his surname, and he won 2 Super Bowls
and other reasons.
Well, John, don't you think the Hall of Fame should be a little bit bigger than just like how good you were on the football field? Like Eli Manning,
because I think it's best football players.
Yeah, but it's the story of football. Eli Manning dethroned twice who is basically undisputably the greatest quarterback to ever live. Doesn't
But
that deserve a
he
spot?
didn't.
You know?
He didn't dethrone Tom Brady.
Yeah, the defensive
He was.
line did. I know what you're saying.
He was a part of a group that.
I mean, what bothers me is like there's a 9-7 football team that had negative point differential that won a Super Bowl. But it is
Well,
what it
and
is.
that's the thing, and you have the helmet catch. What if David Tyree doesn't have
Crazy catch.
a freaking helmet?
What if Asante Samuel picks off
What
the
if
pass to play
Asante
before?
Samuel makes a play he always makes? One of the
Right.
great ball skill corners of his era. Easy interception.
What if was it who was it that missed Eli on the sack for the helmet catch? I always forget who was it. Seymour?
Yeah, that wasn't great, but you know
By the
what?
way, he's a Hall of Famer too.
That was a great play by Eli Manning before
loved
to get loose for the helmet catch, but still, and it works both ways. Remember Edelman's catch? That thing went the Patriots' way. There are little things in all these football games. Not the Eagles win over Kansas City. They freaking destroyed them.
Well, that's usually what happens. Usually the dominant teams don't allow this stuff to happen.
Yeah. But as far as all the close Super Bowls and the helmet catch and Asante Samuel and Eli getting loose and all that kind of stuff, those little razor thin margins tend to define the legacy of average or above average players.
It's a great comment, John. I agree.
By the way, John Zander, my favorite story from that 2007 Patriots season. I've talked to Spagnuolo about that Giants team multiple times at multiple Super Bowls, and he remembered me last year because we had this conversation. I said, Spags, one of my favorite memories from your Super Bowl championship team is when you basically used Jim Johnson's defense because the Eagles used it in Week 16 to be a Cowboys team that seemed otherworldly at the time. It seemed like it was going to be a Dallas Patriots Super Bowl and we were going to go ballistic. And you beat them, you hold them to 6 points. And he goes, same blueprint. He said, Jim Johnson just basically gave me the book and said, here you go. And they used that to beat the Cowboys in the divisional round. That was the best Cowboys team since the Super Bowl, and they couldn't win a playoff game.
Hey, Bill Belichick used Vic's scheme to beat the Sean McVay Rams.
Yeah. Well, listen, I got to be consistent on Eli because I give Jalen Hurts a lot of credit for the success that we've had in Philadelphia since he arrived. So if I'm doing it for Jalen, I got to do it for Eli. 2 Super Bowl wins over Brady. It's good enough for the Hall.
He ain't turned the football over in those Super Bowls, did he?
No, he could have. He could have.
Yeah.
Based on his career numbers, it's surprising he didn't.
Yeah, well, that Jim Plunkett's got to be in before Eli. So
that's my argument. Like we don't give Jim Plunkett this love, but
his name's not Manning.
Yeah, he's not Jim Manning,
but he didn't dethrone Brady.
Well, John Jim Plunkett was a selected pick before Archie, right?
Yeah, but that's the stuff that bothers me. No offense, Andrew. Did Eli Manning?
No, I get where you're going to go.
Was Eli Manning even on the field when Tom Brady was on the field? They're not. They don't even play each other yet.
But it's a quarterback duel, John. It's a quarterback duel.
It's the nature of the sport, though, John. There's so much.
I know, but just because it's people do that doesn't mean you should play into their. The lowest.
I get what you're saying.
They're not even on the field against each other.
It is funny how things work. Like, look, I work for one of the broadcast partners. We literally flexed an Eagles game out so we could show Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels in the 4:00 spot, and it paid off really well because it was a Hail Mary at the end of the game that converted. But that was a high-rated game before that play. You're right. They're never on the same field all the time, but that's how we hype it up.
Yeah, not me. I'm not taking that heat.
And that's fine. I appreciate your consistency.
Not Nick Sirianni, who says it. Ultimate team game. Everybody's got to contribute. Everybody's got to be on the page. But too many people do it. Way too many people do it. It's ironic that. I think that again, the 2 greatest quarterbacks that I've ever seen. I'm not going to go back to Otto Graham, although some people joke I've seen.
Were you alive when Otto Graham was playing?
Yeah, exactly. So, or even Bradshaw and those guys. But to me, and it's about week to week. The 2 most consistent quarterbacks from week to week I've ever seen. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Peyton, to be honest, is better. Peyton's
Peyton Manning is better than Tom Brady. I hate
week to week, there has never been a better quarterback than Peyton Manning.
You think Jalen's improved in that regard?
Yeah, but I mean, he's not at that level. But yeah,
no, I'm not saying he's at that level. I'm just talking about from where he was to where he is, because I thought he took a big step forward, even just inner season last year, from week 1 to the Super Bowl, where I thought he had better control at the line of scrimmage. And again, I don't know exactly what's happening up there
from the bye week to the Super Bowl, if you want to be fair.
Right, there you go. From the bye week to the Super Bowl, I thought he improved a lot in the role that he took on post Jason Kelce.
I've said it pretty consistently. I don't think he had his best season last year. He got better. He was playing his best football late when you need to play your best football. So that's a positive. And I think he Sugar Ray Leonard it. I say it all the time. Sugar Ray, for boxing fans, would, throw the flurry in the last 30 seconds and steal rounds. I think Jalen Hurts stole a round at the end of last season. And people forget the lack of consistency during the season, where he had some of his worst passing games. Now, part of that I thought was just the unfair nature of the Eagles scaling back the offense. But it's hard to go to Nick Sirianni and say, hey, you shouldn't have done that, because they won. But I mean, they're now, as a stat guy, and you're the stat guy, Jeff. I'm not the stat guy, but we're talking about a potential top 5 quarterback. Now, take Jalen Hurts, if you could take his name off, and you can't, and take the Philadelphia Eagles off, which you can't, because we're the show. Obviously, that's what this show is about. But if this was a different quarterback with the Ravens, Ray Lewis defense, or the Tampa Bay defense, or some of these great hell, you could argue the Eagles last year. But again, I'm trying to take it off the Eagles. And, you had games of passing yardage, 183, 158, 114, 179, 118, 108. 131, 128. You would not be freaking happy.
How much of that was circumstance, though?
Yeah, well, that's why I hate
number 1 defense in football, number 1 running game in football.
I hate the passing yard stat. It's like, okay, give me yards per attempt, give me grading, give me efficiency. Now,
he was the 23rd graded passer by PFF. Which is bottom 10, which is bottom 10 in the league, just by film grades. I mean, I don't know how people could argue and say that he was better in 2024, 25 when he won the Super Bowl than 2022 when he was runner-up to MVP. In fact, I've often said, to me, that's a slam dunk. His best season was 2022.
Not even close.
Well, that I agree with. Yeah, I mean, he was.
But I would argue 2023. Now he's asked to do much more again with a shitty defense, and this is where I'm defending him. So I hope people open their ears, because the defense between the difference between 2023 and 2024 was the freaking defense.
Yep. And you could say to Jalen, hey, we're going to dumb this down a little bit here. Protect you from yourself so you're not turning the ball over a million times a game. Because I called him it, turnover machine.
Dude, he had 7 turnovers in the first 4 games.
Exactly. And that was carrying over from last year. I'm like, look, this is who he is. And
I think they panicked coming off the year prior. I thought they panicked too soon, but again, it's hard to make that argument because it was so successful.
I think they evaluate that first quarter of the season, like you said, John. And was it a panic move? Yeah, but sometimes panic moves work.
Yeah, well, it did. There's no question. It did.
And you know what? It's funny. Just talking to professional athletes in baseball and football, they only seem to care about one thing. What was the result?
Well, and that's the ultimate end game, but that's the team end game, which he's a big part of. And I don't want to dispute that. But I don't think he played poorly in 2023. I think he was asked to do more.
Yep.
I think he made some mistakes because he was asked to do more. And I think if he's asked to do more this year, he'll make more mistakes.
What's
To
crazy
me, it's
about
common
I think
sense.
he's right, though. I think he's right in his approach that the team game is a lot more important than the individual. The individual stuff is for us and all the other talk shows in the world to talk
Well, I
about.
agree with
I
that
mean,
wholeheartedly.
he keeps putting the main thing is the main thing. Win. I think everything else will ultimately organize itself.
you know, Jalen Hurts definitely has the Michael Jordan approach to sports. Did I win? I want to be labeled one thing, a winner. You know, I mean, look,
Well, I look, the approach is 100% right. But I mean, that's that's where you're talking about work ethic and unbelievable top of the heap level athletic ability and skills and traits. Michael Jordan's rarefied air. Michael Jordan is, normally we see it in Philadelphia right now with Joel Embiid, who is one of the most gifted centers, 7 foot, 280-pound people that ever lived. But he doesn't have the other stuff. When you have top 5 skill set plus top 5 work ethic, and then with Jordan it's probably number 1, then you have historic.
John. By the way,
Jordan's
John,
a tough
you're gonna appreciate this. Do you know on like NBA pages there are? This is why I can't stand Nikola Jokic because of his fans, and I love Nikola Jokic. Do you know his fans are saying he's a better basketball player than Michael Jordan ever was?
Well, yeah, well, that's stupid. But
I said this is a pointless conversation. Let's start with the positions, and then we'll go from there.
I mean, he's a phenomenal player. But
Yeah.
again, you're talking about one of the few guys on the handful.
My favorite is Michael Jordan wouldn't excel in today's game. Magic Johnson would. I'm like, yeah, they would have because they would have improved.
Don't get me started on the time machine argument.
Yeah.
Look, I acknowledge that the athletes today are better than they ever were. So I don't judge athletes from the 70s with athletes from 2025 because I always joke they had to sell insurance in the offseason. Yeah, right. They couldn't spend $1 million.
OJ Simpson was jumping over Hertz cars.
Yeah. They couldn't sell they couldn't spend $1 million on their body and hire chefs and there's tremendous advantages, but that's why I call it the time machine argument. So what you have to do if you want to make that argument, Wilt Chamberlain's the best to me because Wilt's one of the best who ever played. Yes, would Wilt hold up? Would Wilt of 1967 hold up today? No. Take Joker or anybody or Embiid and put them back in 1967 and see if they match up with Wilt Chamberlain in those deficiencies. If you have the genetics to dominate in your era, you're great. Period. End of sentence. You should be judged against players in your era.
I like that, John.
Yeah, not all the time.
Yeah, because it's not fair. And again, the made-up time machine has got to work both ways at least. If you gotta move Wilt or anybody else forward, you gotta move you gotta move them back.
I always try to remember this when I'm arguing with people over Michael Jordan or whoever. For some of these people, they have never seen Michael Jordan dribble a basketball ever. That's like when I was growing up in the 90s, Wilt Chamberlain. I never saw Wilt Chamberlain dribble a basketball. My memory of Wilt Chamberlain, sadly, is him passing away. It's a shame.
My memory is the picture that floats around of him holding up the 100.
Which, by the way, do you know people think that's fake?
Yeah, people think that's the movie.
I know people that remember that.
Don't think the 100-point game ever happened.
Yeah, it did. Like, my dad's alive. He'll tell you it happened.
Well, I'm not here to debate that. I don't know. I'm out of my purview on that, but I do think it's an interesting conversation. Jeff, are you an MJ's the GOAT guy or are you a LeBron's the GOAT guy?
MJ's the GOAT.
I think Johnny Mac, you're a LeBron, aren't you?
I say it this way. It's very similar to Aaron Rodgers. I think no one has ever played the position at a higher level than Aaron Rodgers, but I don't say he's the greatest all time. I say LeBron James is the most well-rounded basketball player that ever existed.
And he's still rocking it at 40, by the way.
Yeah.
He's still really good.
Like if he's in the conversation, Michael's in the conversations, Will is in the very few people. If you're in the conversation, I say it all the time, that's good enough. Then you can say, what's
and
your
LeBron
favorite
definitely
team?
earned it. The fact that LeBron went to his main consecutive NBA finals as he did is
Yeah, what did he go to 10 or something at that time?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't care if look, I don't use the finals record against him. It's funny to use it against him because he's a whiner about it, but
well,
I don't use
I hold it a little
him.
against him more than I would hold 4 losses against Jim Kelly.
My issue with LeBron
Basketball's
James,
a superstar game, though, man. I mean, you want to win, you need your superstars to win.
My issue with LeBron James stems with this: when he fails, he has to make a big production about it. And
well, that's to me. People get upset about the personality, and I got to
the
know
ego
LeBron,
and some of those things. I get that.
I got to know LeBron a little bit. I say it all the time. I'm actually amazed at how grounded he is.
He's
now
very grounded.
it's been many years. But I mean, to me, the guy's 40 years old, and he's still better than 95% of the players in the league.
He's a top 10 player in the game at 40.
I do think the off the field stuff, John, that you just talked, or the off the court, I guess I should say, is really impressive. I mean, he's been a literal headline guy since he was 16 years old. And he's got no off the field issues. He's got a great family. He's got great children who are all together. Like, I think that's pretty cool. I think that part of it.
I mean, honestly, LeBron's biggest flaw to me, he thinks he's smarter than he actually is. But everybody thinks that. So I'll let that slide.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
We all think we're smarter than we are. He does. He's just more vocal about it.
It's pretty freaking impressive.
It is.
40 years old, 24 points a game, 7.8 rebounds, 8.2 assists. Now, again, people say, well, Tom played till he was 44. Well, the game changed. And that's another thing. If you're in the 70s, you couldn't play to 44.
LeBron, to me, is wasting his years in Los Angeles.
It is definitely a different NBA, though, John. Don't you agree with? I'm not saying the longevity.
Well, yeah, it is, but
it is a different
still,
NBA.
it's still an athleticism-based sport.
Yes, I agree.
And
he still has it clearly.
Yeah. And you're running circles around most 22-year-olds. That's freaking impressive. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, look, the guy's good. Let's call a spade. The guy's good.
Yeah,
if you want to call him the GOAT, I'm not going to argue it.
Yeah.
He's not. I always say he's not my GOAT. That's just my.
Speaking of GOAT talk, you guys see Jaylen rolling around with Michael Jordan? I saw some sort of post on my social feed. I wasn't on social much this weekend, but I did see Jaylen on somewhere with Michael Jordan.
Jaylen idolizes MJ, man.
He's in his company a lot.
I wish Jaylen would open up a little more because he's got a lot of Michael Jordan-esque stuff in his life. He's got a Michael Jordan quote. He's got a little Michael Jordan. I want to talk to him about I'm a Michael Jordan stan.
I don't think he'll ever open up in his playing days.
No.
Maybe in the future.
I got DVDs of Michael Jordan's best games. I got all that stuff. I wasn't even a Bulls fan. I just appreciated Michael Jordan.
Yeah, who doesn't?
I mean, I literally went. I never got to see Michael Jordan play until I was like 8 years old. And of course, the one game I get to see him play, AI might have had his most famous move against him. And
I think you can make an argument Michael Jordan's the most influential athlete to ever live.
For a sport, absolutely.
I think even bigger than that.
Well, there's like Muhammad Ali, people.
Yeah, but I'm talking Michael Jordan's reach goes even way far beyond.
You can ask
the shoes, the brand, I mean, guys, Jordans came out 30 years ago. Jordan 1s, the first Jordan ever, is still one of the most popular sneakers. Now, I know that doesn't matter for some people, but I'm just talking about impact as an athlete.
Look how popular the Last Dance was. Look how popular the Last Dance was.
Yeah.
Like, people still talk about the 90s.
I still wear Jordans. I still buy Jordans. I mean, that's crazy.
I wear Jordans.
I don't know if people will be buying LeBron.
I mean, but who deserves more credit for that, Nike or Jordan?
No, I think Jordan.
Nike took the gamble on him.
I mean,
they
the marketing,
the gamble, but I don't think Nike is Nike today.
I mean, look, he's one of the most. I'm saying there's others, and I would argue Muhammad Ali. I mean, just as an impact on, because
Yeah.
I think people today don't realize how big boxing was back in its
Muhammad
heyday.
Ali was box office. Joe Frazier was box office. Yeah. You guys ever watch the PBS documentary on Muhammad Ali?
I never have. But I'd like
I've
to
seen a
watch it.
bunch of them. I don't know.
PBS got one, and it's kind of like Last Dance ish. It's phenomenal. They go into like chapter one's like his early life, him as Cassius Clay. Chapter 2 is the conversion to Islam and him getting kicked out and coming back.
Right. He did have a bigger.
Frazier. Yeah.
Ali had a
it's
lot
amazing.
big impact.
At his height, he was the most recognizable person in the world. And Jordan was in that conversation.
John, I'll use your comment on this. They're in the conversation. If they're in the conversation, it's good enough.
I always said this when you guys remember. Well, Xander, you're probably too young. John, do you remember when ESPN did the 50 greatest athletes of the 20th century?
Yeah.
And like
I was a little surprised Michael was number one.
I was too. Because
I was expecting it to be Ali, to be honest.
I thought it was going to be Ali, and I thought Babe was probably going to be ahead of Jordan, and Jordan was one. And I'm like, I remember how controversial that was.
Yeah. I was surprised at the time. Now it doesn't seem surprising.
Was Jim Brown the one that was snubbed?
I don't remember. It was snubbed, and he certainly had to be on. Because
I think it was Jordan. It was Jordan 1, Elite 2. I believe it was Roof 3 and Gretzky 4. And then I think Brown might have been 5.
Yeah, I mean Babe Ruth. Certainly, it depends. It's like on a worldwide perspective. Like I say it all the time as a pro wrestling guy. Like on a worldwide perspective, like I don't think people realize like how well known the top wrestlers are because it's a worldwide thing. Like John Cena is much more well known than worldwide than Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. Is in the United. I don't think people understand.
John Cena was in
the movie,
by the way.
Yeah. So, it depends on what you're grading it on. But yeah, certainly Jordan.
Well, John, to your point on that, I think people that don't watch WWE, and I kind of fall in that category. I'm not a consistent watcher or anything. I don't think they realize how big it is. Like, I don't think people that aren't in it. It's the biggest sports YouTube channel on the planet. It's got more views than every other sports league combined. Yeah. Think about it. That's how big the reach is.
Yo, how big WWE? I mean, just look at social media last night. I see John tweeting. I see everybody tweeting. People I didn't even know that watched WWE were tweeting about WWE Evolution last night.
What happened last night? I didn't see it.
Well, yeah, it was a phenomenal show. You should watch it.
I'm telling you. Yeah,
I'll go wrestling nut on you guys.
It was an all-woman show, so I think it was less popular.
No, well, that might explain half the male viewership.
Yeah, but it depends because a lot of people just watch it to want to see the ladies, but the ladies destroyed the men over the weekend because they had a bunch of cards.
I think WWE puts on a very entertaining product. It's something that you can watch, you can enjoy. If you take it for what it is, it's fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Rhea Ripley, Io Sky. That's my recommendation. Go out of your way. If you like pro wrestling, go out of your way to watch that match.
John, did you watch Goldberg on Saturday night?
Well, yeah, I did.
Wait, what happened with that? We had Goldberg on the channel.
He had his last match. He lost.
Did he get crushed?
No, he showed up. He's 58 years old. I think he did a good job for the fact that he's
probably more entertaining than watching Mike Tyson fight. Which Paul brother was it? Was it Logan or Jake? I don't even remember anymore.
Well, it's Jake Paul's show. I don't know who was fighting, but I saw Jake Paul was doing a show on Netflix. There were 2 big fights on Netflix. One was the women's boxing match, and then the other one was the Jake Paul show, I think.
Yeah, it was Jake Paul. By the way, talk about people. I have no idea what the Paul brothers did to get to where they are. I really don't.
I have no idea, but Logan is a hell of an athlete.
Logan, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Actually, Logan's a freak, actually.
It's one thing to build and what he did and then kind of go into it because of the fame that you have. It's another thing go to the top rope and do these you know what I mean? These crazy athletic moves and flips and all sorts of stuff. It is pretty impressive.
I have neighbors. They're both 8 and 6. That they're in love with Logan Paul. They just love watching what Logan Paul does.
Well, there's so many of these YouTube creators, and Xander's probably more in tune with that have these huge followings. I don't know any of them or who they are.
They got a big impact on society nowadays.
There's people in journalism. I'm like, how the hell do you have 2 million followers? I always try to figure it out.
Then there's people that bought their followers and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm not talking about.
I didn't even know this stuff existed.
Real influence. Yeah, I mean, there's what's that one guy's name? There's these two new streamers. They're these young dudes. I mean, they're hanging out. They're in rooms with some of the biggest names in the world. I mean, what's that guy's name? I Show Speed.
That I know because he's been on WWE.
That's what I mean. Even Johnny Mac.
But I have no idea. I have no idea what he does or who he is or what. Other than he's very popular. Other than I mean,
there's a kid I used to.
I got nothing against him.
Playing high school sports, he was a football player. He grew a big TikTok and Instagram follow. You know why? Because he does the shimmy. It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, good for him. He's making money.
So many people get their, when we're on YouTube, and we're, I think, a success on our level, but so many people are on YouTube, and so many people sort of digest things in these little clips versus sitting down to watch a TV program.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
And, we talk about occasionally how streaming has beaten broadcasting cable for the first time combined a couple weeks ago, according to Nielsen. And nobody has a bigger slice of the pie when it comes to people digesting content than YouTube, which is crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. When I run on the treadmill, I'm watching all Eagles games on YouTube. It's YouTube. I can't watch them on cable.
I tell you guys all the time, I'm not a TV show guy. I'm not a movie guy. I'm a YouTube. I love YouTube. I YouTube my hobbies. That's what I do when I'm not working.
Xander and John, speaking of you guys with Birds 365, like Oscar Budahin and I are still shocked at the success of our podcast right now, which has only been a year in. And Oscar was telling me last night, he goes, we had like 3,500 people watching at the end of the show. I said, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
The end of the show. Like, we can't explain it. I guess people do like honest information sometimes. Absolutely.
Yeah. There's space for it all. Good stuff, guys. Good conversation on all sorts of different things. Jeff, we love getting you on because we always go all over the map.
Pretty soon we'll be talking football all the time.
Yeah.
Well, we talked a lot of football today when it came to Jalen Hurts and the quarterbacks, but I would circle back to Nick Sirianni. You mentioned you think he's still a little bit I don't know, slighted in
I think
perspective.
Slight is a good word.
Why do you think that is?
I think in the head coach rankings, I guess PFF did the head coach rankings. Like Nick was like 10. I mean, you're talking about disrespected.
Yeah, I think that's egregious. Egregious.
I don't want to rip him too much, but
I mean, people want to tell me Jim Harbaugh's
better coach than
Nick Sirianni, and I say not a better NFL coach.
Well, what does Nick have to do?
I like Jim Harbaugh as a coach. I do. So I'm looking at. I'm pulling it up. So it goes Andy Reid 1, Sean Payton 2. Boy, he's overrated. Sean McVay 3. I think he's overrated. John Harbaugh's 4. Mike Tomlin's 5. Jim Harbaugh's 6. Still going. Kyle Shanahan's 7, who I love, but as a play caller and schemer.
What's funny is Nick Sirianni beats all these guys.
And Nick Sirianni's 8. Yeah, Nick Sirianni's owned Sean McVay specifically. So he's 8. He wasn't 10. He was 8. Dan Campbell was 9. Kevin Stefanski is 10. Yeah. Nick gets even more disrespected than Jaylen from that perspective.
I think he's even harder to gauge. I mean, I don't know. What's the only metric you can really use to quantify like a coach's success? Is it wins and losses? I know it's not all on them or whatever you think. I don't know what you think about that, you guys, but isn't that kind of the only thing you can look at? I mean, if you're looking at a statistical approach to a coach's success, isn't wins and losses all you have? I mean, a quarterback, you have passing stats and this and that and all these different other things.
You have offensive stats, defensive stats. You look at it from more of a team perspective.
Well, what does Nick have to do then? I mean, if he hasn't earned,
don't have to do anything to get people who don't understand to understand. He's got work to do. But why would he want to do that? He's more focused on trying to get the Eagles back.
Yeah, and I think he's right about that. I think Nick Sirianni damaged his perception a little bit, to be honest.
Well, it's the same thing. It's like anybody would win with the Eagles roster.
But I think some of the things that happened with him too also damaged what he looks like to the outside.
The personality, the jealousy. Yeah, to me,
personality, yes, but anything the organization did, I mean, with the way they kind of,
they
for
gave
lack of a
too
better
many
word,
good players.
Well, they castrated him. For people that aren't in the know, that's how they see it. Oh, they took away the offense. They took away everything. What does Nick do? That's what people say. What does
John
Nick
Harbaugh?
do?
What does John Harbaugh
football team? What do you mean? What does he do?
Yeah. What's John Harbaugh do? He don't run. He's not a
no.
He's always done what he's done.
I do think some of that though weighs on his perception.
Well, yeah, but I think a lot of it is like Nick Sirianni nobody took away Nick Sirianni's play calling ability. He decided to step back. That was his own decision because he wasn't happy with the way he was managing the game early in his rookie season.
He admitted that to us in the embargo session last year.
As far as Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, first of all, because there was a Diana Rossini report. I remember on the first day of training camp last year, I asked Howie because there was a Diana Rossini report that Howie hired the coordinators. Like the perception is that Howie hires the coordinators. He doesn't.
No, Nick hired.
I don't know how many times I could explain that. Nick doesn't even report to Howie Roseman. He reports.
I do think people think there's like a short list, like, hey, you can pick, but it has to be one of these guys or something. Like, I don't know. I feel like people don't look
part
at
of it
is
he has
true freedom. Part of it is to say, I like this guy. This is who I want to hire, and then he can do it.
Part of Howie's job is to gather candidates. So I think that's the disconnect. Like Nick's busy with other shit, football shit.
Yeah, right.
Howie's also been around longer. So Howie has more of a network of people, which is what he explained.
And Howie's allowed to control that stuff. I mean, look at the guys represent. But by the way, that seems to be the only thing the Eagles get credit for. Howie Roseman is the #1 GM in football.
Well, I'm one of the people that likes the collaborative approach. Like I don't look at Nick and say, oh, he doesn't manage every part of the personnel and this and that makes him bad. I think it's good. Why would you not? If you have resources around you, if you have people around you that have been successful in their area of expertise, why would you not call them? Why would you not collaborate with them?
The best owners, the best CEOs, the best coaches have the foundation around them. It's always been like that.
Well, isn't it also such a different NFL? Like we talked about this a little before, Jeff. I'm not sure if it was with you or if not, but the NFL is so different. Like in the 90s, Jim Johnson was the coach, the GM, the play call. Like he did everything.
Andy Reid was that here, and it hurt him as a coach here.
$10 billion organizations now, man. They got full setups, full teams, full managers, full scouts, full everything. You don't need the coach to do everything.
Zander, I laughed when Andy got fired in Philly and when I heard he was just going to be the head coach in Kansas City, I'm like, oh, this guy's going to win 70% of his games. He was already a damn good coach, and he was trying to do the both role. Oh, by the way, the guy's won 70% of his games since he's been to Kansas City. It's insane.
Yeah.
But Andy Reid only wins because he has Mahomes.
What do you guys think Nick's biggest deficiency is? Sirianni.
I think that he is a little bit too emotional in games.
Too many highs and lows. You'd like to see him be more steady.
Yeah. I think he's a little bit too emotional.
I
don't think he should be yelling at fans telling him to run the football.
I think Nick Sirianni's biggest strength is his biggest weakness. He cares too much what other people think. Like, for me, this is how if someone yelled at me to run the ball down, whatever, in the second half, I would turn around and literally laugh at him. Because I'm like, you guys are idiots. You have no idea what you're talking about. Nick Sirianni should take that approach more.
I would ignore them.
Well,
Is
that's
there
a
a
way of
positive to
ignoring.
that?
Is there what?
Is there a positive? Is there a look at that while it has its downsides?
Well, no,
there's
that's his biggest
part of
strength
it
because that's what motivates him.
right, that creates who he is. It creates
Yeah,
the
maybe
relationship,
it's all
creates the
factored
connection
in.
with the players, the fan base. I don't know. I think some
But
of it
look,
is not all
there
bad.
are people you were talking about, hiring people. We were just talking about Howie when I asked him last year on the opening day of training camp, and he explained, look, and he used Quinyon as an example. I just looked it up. So he was saying, we go through our process in the personnel first round pick. I feel like myself, our scouts, we had great information on Quinyon Mitchell. Obviously went to Toledo, Nick's college roommate. Jason Castle is the head coach at Toledo. Hey, I got this information on Q. You have this collaborative approach. It made me feel much better about the selection that we already felt good about. So then he went on to the coaches and he said, it's the same process.
Yep.
Nick will come in and say, these are the guys I'm thinking about. Do you have any relationship? Do you know these guys? Obviously, I've been in the league a long time and had prior relationships with both of those guys, Kellen Moore, Vic Fangio was talking about. It makes him feel better at the decision he's making. I got him on the record to explain it. People still didn't believe it. They want to believe what they want to believe. In the case of Nick Sirianni, you saw it with Kellen Moore, or especially early in the season, not so much late. When things were going well, it was Kellen. When things were going poorly, Nick took over. People are going to believe what they want to believe. So my best advice to Nick Sirianni would be to say, ignore it. Now, that's easier said than done, but you're never going to change their minds. Even if you get people on the record.
Right.
Oh, well, Diana said, well, I don't give a shit. You heard Howie.
Yeah.
They're it. Now, could he be lying? I guess. Why would he be lying? First of all, everybody was on board with Big Buck and Fangio. Kellen Moore? Howie made Nick Sirianni hire Kellen Moore?
It's a good hire.
In hindsight, it worked. So, yeah.
Worked out. I don't know why people are so obsessed with,
who hires who. I don't care.
Ultimately, Jeffrey Lurie's the one who's got to sign off on it. So if you want to use somebody, use Jeffrey.
Yeah, and I think we're the best owner in football, and it's not close.
But Nick reports directly to Jeffrey Lurie. He does not report to Howie Roseman. And I think a lot of people still today do not believe that.
Well, because I think part of that is because of the setup. I mean, Howie's been here for how many coaches? 3, 4?
Well, there's no doubt. Now, to me, that's a different question. Like, who's on firmer ground? Howie Roseman.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that can create a perception for those not in the know that, Howie and the owner work in tandem and the coach is a revolving door and it's whoever they choose at any given moment.
Well, it's whoever Jeffrey chooses. I would agree with that part of it. Because I go back, and again, people can believe and trust who they want to believe. Howie recommended the Eagles, Jeffrey Lurie, hire Josh McDaniels in 2021. And Jeffrey said,
no.
I don't, they both, I was told they both said we can get along. That was a big issue with Jeffrey Lurie. And they promised that it wouldn't be a problem. And ultimately, Jeffrey said, no matter what they say now, at some point in the future, they're not going to get along. And he said, let's keep interviewing people. And they kept interviewing people, and he got to Nick, and he was wowed, and he hired Nick Sirianni.
You know what? My reasoning would have been to not hire Josh McDaniels, because Josh McDaniels sucks as a head coach. I mean, that would have been my reason. I'm like, I don't care if he gets along with everybody.
I'm with you, Jeff.
Hey, if you go back to 2016 with Doug, they wanted Adam Gase number 1. That was their top choice. And Ben McAdoo, the famous story, he was on his way to accept the job. And the
Yeah.
Giants convinced him to turn around on the Jersey Turnpike, Molly Pitcher service area. I make that up. I don't know what
It
service
might have
area.
been the Molly Pitcher service area for
Yeah.
all we know.
I don't know which service area, but he turned around. Yeah.
I'm telling you, sometimes it's the guy you don't hire. The Eagles want to hire Jim
Sometimes
Haslett.
it's better to be lucky than good. You could have had
Yeah.
Adam Gase and Josh McDaniels.
Ugh,
And this
Ben McAdoo.
and trust me, people would not be gloating over this franchise like they do now if that was the case.
Look at Dirty Air here, one of our great members here. Member for 10 months. Dirty Air, thank you, brother. He says, Nick, like Jaylen, perfectly fits this team and city. Their goals, focus, and passion embody our fan base and are the exact approach needed to win games and rally a team. What do you guys think of that?
I don't have any issues with that.
Giving the fan base a lot of credit. I don't know. The fan base gets pretty upset at them when
I'm
they
more
don't
upset
perform
Phillies
well.
fans right now than I am Eagles fans because a lot of Eagles fans
What?
are taking their Eagles approach to the Phillies these days. So, you know,
Are the Phillies are in first place?
the
Right?
Phillies are in first place. Everybody thinks they suck. So, you know, whatever.
Yeah, it is what it is.
No one knows the intricate. I can never say the word. The intricacies of baseball.
Look, a lot of people wanted Nick fired after the 2023 season. A lot of
They
people wanted
him
Nick
fi- they wanted him
fired
fired after the
when he
Browns
was two
game.
when he
I
was
didn't want him
2-5.
fired. I thought it would have been the wrong move. Too quick.
You know,
So
the
yeah, I
only
don't-
issue I have with that Browns game is not Nick going after the fan. Him bringing his kids as the podium is like a shield for them.
That was
Come on.
you got
Yeah,
I
you
I
shook
almost
my
know.
have to,
head.
you almost
No,
have
'cause
to tip the cap though. It's like all right.
Yeah,
It
I
sucks.
don't. Look, I'm going to defend Nick Sirianni. People are going to say him. Look, and I love Mike Sealski, good friend, great dude. He does it all the time. He wasn't bringing him up there as a shield, and actually, he got in trouble with his wife, and he's not doing it anymore because there was stuff
Yeah.
written about him that she wasn't happy about.
Which I understand.
Oh, well, yeah, but he created that too.
No, I agree.
Well,
He
that's why
shouldn't
his
have
wife was
brought.
mad at him,
Well,
yeah.
by the way, I agree with that. He should never bring them up there.
No.
So number one, that's where I start. They should never be up there. But in that particular instance, he had done it. That's like the fourth or fifth time he had done it. He wasn't using them as a shield.
It was just
Yeah.
a bad moment.
I mean,
you gotta look
that
at the
particular
optics.
moment though. I could see why Mike would say that.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not blaming Mike. I'm just saying I don't think that was what he was doing. And he answered the questions anyway. He got the questions. It's not going to
Yeah, right.
stop Mike asked the question. It's not going to stop it from happening. And if Mike didn't do it, somebody else would have asked it.
Usually how it works.
So yeah, I don't think that's why he did it. I agree he shouldn't do it, but I'm just saying I don't think he was bringing up his kids to use as a shield.
Yeah, I don't either. All right, good conversation on Nick Sirianni. Jeff, we appreciate you being here today, brother. As always, you give us tons of time, and you're in vacation mode, man. You got your feet kicked up, so
Yeah,
enjoy the
what
rest.
better
Of
vacation than talking to us? You got
Yeah,
a big
about-
lunch
about
today,
everything.
by the
Yeah,
way.
I do
Yeah,
got big. John, why aren't you going to the big lunch?
you got what?
Hey,
It's
heaven
easier.
forbid you had to cross the
Is the
bridge.
big lunch something that can be disclosed on the air?
Well, I guess so. He's going to
yeah.
lunch.
You want to talk about the big lunch? Everybody but John is meeting up for lunch today.
Look,
What do you mean
it's
everybody?
easier-
Who's everybody?
It's easier for me to get to freaking West Virginia than where you guys are going. So
Who
Yeah.
is it? Like the beat reporters are all getting together?
Yeah, well, most of us.
couple
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah,
Couple of
Ed,
them. All right.
Ed Kratz, Martin Frank, Andrew DeCecco, myself, and John McMullen was invited, but heaven forbid he has to go to the Wicked Witch of the
Look,
East
If
territory.
you guys want to come to South Jersey where everything is, Nick lives here, AJ lives here. We can go over there. If you want to come to South Jersey with the special people, I'm
Where
all
the heck
for
you
it.
guys traveling?
gonna-
Asia? I mean, holy crap, John!
Yeah.
It sounds like you're gonna have to travel across
Oh my
the world
God,
to meet
it's
these
a-
guys.
well, I'm
hey,
exaggerating.
Jersey, the only state I have to pay to leave.
I'm exaggerating, but
Jersey's
it's
expensive
easier.
state.
If I have to go on the Schuylkill, that's like 4 hours of my freaking day.
He's not wrong about that because I gotta go on the Schuylkill.
John said, "Love all you guys. Cross it off the list. I'll see you
The
next
funny
time."
thing is, John would probably have to go 2 hours out of his way in the other direction just to even get to college. To avoid
That's
the
right.
Schuylkill.
Jeff, you know where I'm going this weekend?
Where's that?
Dover, Delaware.
Oh, are you going? All right.
Yes, I'm going to Dover Motor Speedway this weekend. Our guys in the chat. We got one of our viewers here, Jeff, that works with NASCAR, and he got me garage and pit passes
There you
Nice.
for
go.
the weekend at the NASCAR. So I'll be down there.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
telling you,
super excited.
have you ever been to a NASCAR race?
No, never been.
Oh
Never
my
been.
God, you're gonna love it.
I
It is
know.
a
I'm like,
thrill.
literally, and I'm like, I love cars, Jeff. It's like one of the things I really like when
Yeah.
I'm not working. So I'm ecstatic to say.
I used to have I call him a relative. He's not a relative, but he's more of a close family friend. But he used to work for Penske, and I used to get all that. Oh my God, was it so much fun? The only thing I couldn't do was because Miller was Rusty Wallace's sponsor, I wasn't allowed to be in certain areas, so way under 21. I'm like, I don't drink anyway. It's funny. They said like beer influences you. I'm not really much of a drinker. I grew up with Miller Lite all over the place. You've seen the back of this. Like, I hate the beer. It stinks. But I like the color of the car and I like the driver. I can separate.
Jeff,
right.
Sometimes you are so unintentionally hilarious. I love it.
Yeah. It does. I'm not gonna lie.
You're killing our
All right.
sponsor. No, I'm joking.
That's
trust
funny.
me. I don't think Miller's ever gonna sponsor me for anything.
Yeah.
No, that's all right. I'm not a beer drinker either. John, I know you enjoy a cold one every once in a while. Jeff, thank you for joining, man. We appreciate it today. We got some things we got to close up the show with. We appreciate you doing it, man. Tons of time for us, and we love having you on.
Enjoy the big lunch too. And I know there'll be a lot of ripping of Johnny Mac at that lunch.
I'm gonna
but
send
I'm
you
used to it.
I'm gonna send you pictures of our food.
Yeah.
That's the Checo's
love
favorite
that.
thing, by the way.
Yeah,
He
I
hates
love
when
that.
I
Jeff,
do
turn
that.
around and take a selfie with the table. All right, we'll post it up on Birds.
I like to do things that annoy people. So
When
I'll be
my
taking
picture
pictures of
when
that.
my picture goes up, I'll show up.
Well, you got to show up to get your picture up.
I won't do that. If they put it up first, then I'll show up.
Well, what picture should we use of you?
I don't know.
I'll get Steve to do it.
I don't care.
I'll send you the classic J-Mac headshot I use. All right, Jeff. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you next Monday, and we got training camp to talk about next week with the training camp kicking off.
By the way, John,
So-
do we even know the schedule yet?
No.
No,
No,
you won't
it's
know
a
until
week
Tuesday
out.
morning.
Why would we know the schedule?
Because every team has sent me their schedule.
Yeah,
Except for
I'm
the
just
Eagles.
I'm just showing up Wednesday. Osmosis will take care of the rest.
Yeah, I agree with you.
love it.
I'm gonna show up at 8:30, and I'll be like, I'm ready. Let's go.
I'm in the
All right.
bucket.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm in the
We'll see
bucket
how it
too.
goes.
Hey, we're at the point where we just say our names. They don't hate us that much.
All right, Jeff. Thank you, man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week. All right.
All right, see ya.
See ya. Have a good cheesesteak today. Let's hope Jeff Kerr probably going to eat a cheesesteak. Johnny Mac, good stuff, man. We got to take a commercial break. We haven't had a commercial break, but we only have 20 minutes left, and I did want to get through some of these names real quick. So let me just stick here. I'll take you know what? Let me take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk Jaylen Carter. So he was number 4 on the list. I want to talk a little bit about Jaylen Carter. We've had a chance to kind of expound and talk about every player that's been on the list. We didn't have a chance to do it with Jaylen Carter. I want to do that. So we'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back in 3 minutes on Birds 365.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
The following is a real testimonial from the father of a young injured victim.
I didn't think she was going to make it.
Major Perry's daughter was the victim of a horrific accident caused by someone else's negligence.
If you don't find the right counselor, law firm that you're looking for, you will get lost in the wilderness.
Badly injured? Call the Fritz and Bianculli Law Firm at 215-458-2222 and find out why they say, "We got this."
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand.
Thank you.
We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Thrill Seekers and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome back in, everybody, to a Monday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. Appreciate everybody being here. We are officially 8 days away from the Eagles reporting to camp. We're 9 days away from the Eagles taking the field for training camp, and we're 52 days away from Jake Elliott kicking off versus the Dallas Cowboys. Now, maybe it's not Jake, but anyway, that game is 52 days away.
He might not kick off, but he's going to be the kicker.
Yeah, whatever. I shouldn't have said that, but I corrected myself on the fly. So 52 days out from that, 8 days from reporting, and 9 days from the Eagles being on the football field. We've been running down Johnny Mack and Ed Kratz's top 25 over on SI.com. And I gave you guys the list early in the show. We are down now inside the top 5. Jalen Hurts came in at 5 last week, and you guys are, I believe, almost done the list. Ed's about to put up number 1 today, but we'll just go to 4 today. 4 we announced was Jaylen Carter at the start of the show. Pretty amazing, John. Real quick, I just wanted to give you a chance to expound on it a little bit more before I ask you some questions on Jaylen Carter, but pretty incredible. After year 2, Jaylen Carter is the number 4 player on this stacked roster. His upside, his talent as a player is really remarkable, John.
Yeah, and we had this point system. So if you go by the points and the jumble, the top 4 was the clear sort of demarcation line, and then you went down to another tier, and then you had to probably go down to after Zach Bond at 11 to get to sort of tier 3. So Jaylen Carter and the guys we haven't mentioned in alphabetical order, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Lane Johnson, those were the top 4, pretty clear, all jumbled together. And Jaylen Carter is a second-year player to be involved with that trio. Think about that trio.
Yeah.
Lane Johnson's going to the Hall of Fame. There's no doubt in my mind. A.J.'s been a 3-time All-Pro. Saquon was a first-team All-Pro, 2,504 rushing yards, NFL record, historic season, NFL Offensive Player of the Year. He's in that category. And again, I point out, as star-studded as the Eagles' offense is and was last year leading to the Super Bowl, the defense played better. And my biggest problem with my own list is how low Zach Bond was on it.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem with your list.
And then Jaylen Carter, for all the talk, and you can debate, Jaylen Carter's the most talented player on the number 1 defense in the NFL. That's what he is. And Zach Bond was the best player on the NFL's number 1 defense. And that's why I think he shouldn't have been as low as he was. But and that's last year. We're moving forward. Clearly, he's only ascending. As I mentioned, Jeremiah Trotter Sr. said, he doesn't even know what he's doing. And Vic kind of agreed with that. So there's still plenty to learn from a technique and a fundamental standpoint and understanding of the defense. And he's already, speaking about Fowler's quarterback rankings, well, defensive tackles, it was Dexter Lawrence, Chris Jones, and Jaylen Carter. So from the league's perspective, he's already number 3, and he doesn't even know how to fully play the position. I think that should best explain his upside.
The upside is just amazing, and obviously does best explain the upside there. How much do you think his role changes this year, or changes, shifts, modifies? Like, what do you think? Do you think it looks a lot of the same? He played ridiculous percentage of the snaps last year, by the way. I don't think that changes, but can you ride him like that? I don't know. How much do you think the use of Carter changes this year, if at all?
Well, he played more snaps than anybody else defensive. Now, part of that was the Eagles played deep in they played 4 games in the playoffs, so they were playing more games than most people. I think they want to actually play him a little bit less, to be honest.
Yeah, well, there were some games that he played almost 100% of the snaps, right?
I mean, you probably, but that depends on the other guys, as Vic always says. How effective remember, you're trying to replace Milton Williams, so how effective are Jordan Davis going to be with elevated snaps? Moro Ajomo? Can Ty Robinson get on the field and be effective early? Can Thomas Booker be on the field if Ty Robinson's not ready to go? Even Byron Young I brought up. A lot of that is dependent on the other guys. But, yeah, I would think if anything, they want him to play less. But we went through this for many years with Fletcher Cox. I mean, everybody would say, we can't play him as much. And when you get in the game, you don't want to take him off the field in key situations. So that's dependent on other things and other people developing. But he played 1,067 defensive snaps. And number 2 was Zach Allen of Denver, who played 1,031. That's it. Those are the only 2 interior defensive linemen that went over 1,000 snaps. Now, again, that includes the playoffs for Jaylen, so that's significant, 4 games, but that is a lot of wear and tear, and Vic said he's a young pup, he can handle it. And he's probably right, but at some point you turn into a middle-aged pup from an NFL perspective, and that'll be 4 or 5 years in, so you probably want to lighten that load a little bit, but that depends on the other guys.
How much does this Fangio system unlock or, help Jaylen Carter thrive in what he does best?
I don't think defensive line play is very system based, to be honest. I mean, you can play it, and Vic's is more gap and a half. You play one gap aggressive Jim Schwartz or 2 gap generally, which is more read and react.
I do remember Fletcher having the issue, remember? Yeah, I'm sure you remember that. Yeah.
Well, and that's the difference between 1 gap and a 2 gap, and Vic calls it 1.5 gap. And the Eagles are more read and react. That probably limits him from a fan perspective more than anything else, because they're going to be focused on sacks and splash plays, and it's easier to make splash plays in a 1 gap scheme. So it probably limits them a little bit. But again, the Eagles are focused on winning games. I think if you have the number 1 defense, I think that's more important than having 12 sacks. Now, some people will disagree with me, believe it or not. But obviously, he didn't have big sack numbers. That's partially because he's in more of a read and react system versus an aggressive system.
Yeah, which I don't think is a big deal. John, do you think he takes another step forward in terms of leadership? Now Brandon Graham's out of that room. He lost Fletcher Cox 2 years, or now what's now will be 2 years ago. He's a more subdued guy, I think, at least in terms of leadership. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I mean, I think he gets in people's faces. I think he's got a grit about him, but I don't think he is the loud vocal leader like some are. Do you think he takes a step in that regard, or does he lead by example? What do you see from him as a leader on the defense, being as dominant of a player as he is?
Yeah, I think that's more of you know, from the performance standpoint. He's a very shy person. I always say very shy. You know, he doesn't like being on the podium. He doesn't like big, you know, media scrums. He'd rather talk to people individually. I don't, you know, to me, Jordan Davis, I've said people gravitate towards Jordan Davis. He's the leader
You
of
got the outgoing
defensive line.
personality. Yeah.
He's the leader of the defensive line room. And they split it up, you know, edge rushers, and Nolan's more the outgoing guy. So Nolan will take over that from the edge rusher perspective. Inside, it's Jordan Davis. But, you know, people will follow Jaylen Carter from a performance standpoint. But it clearly, you know, if you're looking for a leader in Clint Hurtt's room, that's clearly going to be Jordan Davis.
I'm excited to see, man, where Jaylen Carter goes. I think he's maybe one of the highest upside players we've drafted in a long time, and I can't wait to see what he becomes with more work, more refinement, and some of the things that he will do to improve his game. Johnny Mac, great stuff on Jaylen Carter, man. Comes in at number 4 on the list. That's special for you know, a guy going into year 3 to have really as dominant a performances as he's had, and just a flash of talent. He's got to be one of the highest upside players we've drafted in a long time.
Yeah, he's the most talented defensive player the Eagles have had since Reggie White.
And you said that at the beginning of the show. That's a big comment, but I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, and that includes Brian Dawkins, who's in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that includes everybody. Just from I'm not saying he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm saying just from a pure talent perspective and upside, they've never had a player like this for a long time.
Yeah. Special player. Let's see what he can do in year 3 now, coming in as the anchor of the defense on that defensive line. Got high hopes for Jaylen Carter. I think he's got high expectations of himself, and he will reach them. Let's go to some super chats, Johnny Mac. We got about 5 minutes left to play here on a Monday edition. I want to thank everybody for being here, by the way. Another great crowd, and we're less than just over a week away from them reporting to camp. 8 days, 9 days till they're on the field, and I mentioned 52 days until that opening game. So it's all coming quick. We're going to start to see more people in the chat. We love it. Hit the like button for us. Help us grow, and we appreciate you guys for being here. Let's go to some super chats. Trenton Wright checks in. What's up, Trenton? Hope you're doing good, brother. Hope you had a good weekend. He says, Jaylen is the leader and player he needs to be for this team to win championships. That's all that matters. He leads us to a Super Bowl without Saquon in 22.
Yeah, I mean, that was his best year, yeah. And I think he was the best player on the field in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
you know, if you don't win it.
Most would say that,
yeah, I mean, yeah, they were really good before Saquon got here. But they got over the hump. So it's the nature of it. And they became they've always been run centric. And Jalen Hurts is a big part of that, by the way, because his impact on the running game helps.
Yeah, right. I think that's John. I think that's an underrated part. Like, how good would the running game be without Jalen?
Yeah. I mean, they call it +1 for a reason.
Right.
And, you know, it's no coincidence that Miles Sanders made the Pro Bowl. DeAndre Swift made the Pro Bowl. Saquon Barkley had his best season. It's no coincidence Jalen Hurts is a big part of that, because people have to respect his ability to run the football.
Agreed. Real Rich checks in. What's up, Rich? Hope you're doing good, brother. Good to see you in here. He says, who are you most excited to see on the field this year, Z and J-Mac?
Probably Kaylee Ringo for me.
Okay, Kaylee Ringo. That's a good one.
You know, and I'm because I know what to expect from Lane and AJ and Saquon.
Yeah, right. I think Jalen's an exciting one too, because every year has kind of looked a little different with Jaylen. So I'm curious to see what it looks like this year. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Cooper DeJean because, you know, where does he go from? That's a high that he had in the Super Bowl, you know, at the end of his rookie season. How do you go up from there? How do you bounce back from that? What's that look like? I'm curious. A young player, obviously, will there be adversity potentially? So I'm excited for that. I think Ringo's a good one too, John.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw the question, I immediately went to somebody who hasn't proven themselves, because to a certain extent, even Cooper and Quignon, that they're good players. I think Kaylee Ringo's got a chance to be a really good player, but it's just evaluation and projection at this point.
Right.
So to say, I want to see him play, I think he's got the highest upside of all the younger players that are expected to step in. So, Moro Jomo, Jeremiah Trotter, Sidney Brown, Drew Makuba. I think he's got the highest upside. So that's why I would put him number one.
I like it. Good stuff there. Alfredo checks in. What's up, Alfredo? He says, Jaylen's opens up on podcast, not to y'all, though. Where has he opened up?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never
Has
seen
Jaylen done any podcast?
I don't know.
I feel like we would have seen it. I mean, we see Saquon going to podcasts. It's everywhere. You know what I mean? You at
Yeah.
least see it. I feel like if Jaylen was on a podcast, I would have seen it.
I don't know what he's talking about, but I think, he opens up to me more than most. Not that he opens up, but so I take some pride in that.
I know he did the Kelsey podcast.
Yeah, he did.
I don't see another podcast that he did.
He still doesn't, maybe he jokes around a little bit more. He's very he's
guarded dude.
Yeah, he's very guarded. Nothing wrong with it.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah, I remember he did the Kelsey podcast. I saw that, Fredo. That was a year ago, but I got you. East Coast Rico says, what player do y'all want to see improve the most on D? I think it's got to be Nolan Smith.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nolan's one of the most important players on the team. So, yeah.
I mean, think about it. If he doesn't improve,
he's got to produce. If he doesn't produce, the Eagles aren't deep shit on the edge if he doesn't produce. I mean, they got problems if he doesn't produce. So, I mean, if I were doing a most important list, he'd be in my top 5 because he's got to produce. And I'm talking high level for 17 games and into the playoffs. Got to. So, yeah, I'm all on Nolan Smith bandwagon. He's very important to this team.
No doubt about it. East Coast, thank you for the super chat. Thanks, everybody, for the super chats today. Dirty Air, appreciate you, brother. We read yours with Jeff Kerr. Rich, thanks for being a member for 3 months, member for 10 months, Dirty Air. And Trenton, Alfredo, and East Coast Rico. We appreciate you guys as well. Everybody in the chat, good to have all you guys in here today. Hit that like button on the way out. Johnny Mac, your final thoughts. 8 days from the Eagles reporting, 9 days from practice, brother. Get the honey-do list out and start knocking them off, J Mac, because the season is here, brother.
Oh boy, you just depressed me because
as soon
as I leave here on air,
we live a beautiful life, John. Come on.
That's true. Week away, osmosis. At some point, we'll have the schedule. By the way, you mentioned the practices will be in the morning, so we'll be doing night shows. I mean, that's just the nature of it. But they'll have walkthrough days, but we'll be here at 8 in the morning. So I guess the schedule will be. It'll be a little bit different. As Jeff pointed out, I don't have the schedule yet, so I can't tell you, but it'll be a little bit different.
Good stuff there. Johnny Mac, great show today, brother. We'll catch you tomorrow morning on a Tuesday edition of Birds 365. Great show today, my friend. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, thanks all.
All right, there's Johnny Mac, J Mac, John McMullen. Follow him on X at JF McMullen. And a great show today. Great stuff from Jeff Kerr. Great comments from everybody. Appreciate everybody being here on a Monday morning. I got a little bit of Zander time for you guys today. Nothing crazy. You can see I'm not in my home studio. I'm down at my beautiful girlfriend's house. So I'm here for a couple days, and I'll probably be here till Thursday. Then I'm heading home, and then I got the NASCAR event this weekend, so I'm fired up. Got a lot of fun things coming, and I'm ready for the season to be here. I know John's like, oh, I got to get done everything. I don't want to do. I'm ready. I'm ready for the season. All right. I feel like this team is going back to the Super Bowl, and I'm not just saying that. I feel in my heart that this team is built to go back to the Super Bowl. I really believe that. So I'm ready for the season to get here. I can't wait to see it all unfold. I'm a little bit on cloud nine. You know, last year was first year covering the team on air for me, up close and personal. And they won the Super Bowl. Now I'm like, holy moly, are they going to do it again? I think they have a really good chance. So I'm looking forward to it. We got a lot of great stuff coming up on the shows. Obviously, we'll get a lot more guests on as well with everything getting kind of back into the swing of things. So I'm looking forward to what we have upcoming on Birds 365. And I want to thank everybody who reached out to me. Philly Don, I'm not sure if you're in here. I appreciate your reaching out to me last week. Always appreciate hearing from the great people. Tony, good hearing from you this weekend. My guy Tony Eagles 168, Super Bowl or bust, he says. Flying mine. That's my boy, John Secundo. What's up, John? Good to see you, my man. Loud 6931. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that is Primo. I'm pretty sure that's you. I can tell by your profile picture. Combat Vets Association. Love it. He says defense wins championships. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look at last year, man. So that defense needs to be good. That defense needs to be good. Bird Gang Girl says, I have a gut feeling already. You and me both, Bird Gang Girl. My stomach, it like turns over when I think of the Eagles going back to the Super Bowl. I want another parade float. I want another parade down Broad Street. I want to be broadcasting live from Broad Street once again. Will it happen? I think so. We'll see. We'll see. Texas T checking in. What's up, Texas T? Hope you're doing well. She said, Juwan Jennings wants a contract or a trade. Glad we don't have those problems. They got a lot of problems over there. I mean, they got rid of Debo. Now we're supposed to believe that Juwan Jennings is like a, you know, I know he's good. Like even Johnny Mack was like, oh, you're sleeping on Juwan Jennings. I'm like, difference maker, game changer? I don't know about that. Certainly no Devontae Smith. You know, certainly no Devontae Smith. But I hear you. They got a lot of problems, and we don't have those problems, Texas T. So thank the front office, thank the owner, thank the general manager. They've done a great job. All right, they've done a great job. There's no doubt. And the players, we got good personality players, man. They got good personality. We got good personality players, Texas T. You know, I really think that. You know, you get a lot of players that are ego-driven, ego-fueled. They care about money. They care about the and everybody does. I mean, come on, anybody that doesn't care about the money they're making or how their life is developing is you're being naive. But I think there is levels to it, you know. And I think this team operates within team first, and everything else will handle itself. And you know, to the organization's credit, they do pay their players. They make them feel comfortable, which is a big thing as well. So we don't have those issues. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Nate the God checks in. What's up, Nate? As long as we win another one in 3 years, I don't feel like we all in this year for some reason. I don't know, Nate. I think they did adjust some things to make sure they're good in 26 and 27, but I think this team is still right there, dude. I mean, you're bringing back 10 of 11 offensive starters. You lost a couple guys on defense where you really had pretty good contingency plans for the most part. We got the best linebacking group I think we've had in a long time once everybody's healthy there. You added a weapon in Jahad Campbell. I think Quinion and Cooper take a big step forward. I like Reed Blankenship. Obviously, we have some questions about Ringo and the safety position, but outside of that, I'm sorry. I'm not buying that losing Milton Williams is going to completely change your defensive front. We got Jaylen Carter. Jordan Davis is still here. Moro Ojomo was great in his sample size last year. We added Ty Robinson in the draft. Obviously, question there. We don't know what he's going to be, but I don't feel like it's like, okay, we'll write off 25. We'll be back for 26. I don't feel that, man. JS member Curtis says, do you have this nostalgia for the LS7 vet, or was that a little before you were into cars? That's the one I eventually pulled the trigger on. If my 6'3" old man self can still get into one by then. No, the LS7s were fire. That was in what? The Z06 for the was that CT6 or a C6? LS7 was in what? Which vet was it in? Yeah, it was a C6 Z06. That's right. Yeah, that's a nice motor. There's a lot of them. By the way, for those interested, I talked about my cars a lot on this show on Zander Time. So 6,000, Rich. I'm almost up to 7 now. But I for those who know, I got another channel, ZK's Garage. I've had the channel for a while actually, but I made a post last week on Zander Krause, kind of collabing with it. So I put up a video. This is pretty awesome. I put up a video of my first drive for the channel with it, not on JAKIB. This is on my other channel. Thing's got 8,000 views. Oh, let me turn off my, and I don't want to turn off my, dang, I can't show you. It's got 8,000 views. Oh, see, there you go. Got 8,000 views. Things on the move. Things on the move on that other channel. So go and check it out if you want to see my my new car, my full video. ZK's Garage is the channel. I'll post the video link for you guys as well if you want to check that out. So pretty cool. But the thing's getting a lot of views, a lot of comments. So I'm going to be doing that as well. I've told you guys that I want to expand further than just sports. I love being on camera. I love doing footage and things of that nature. So I started up that channel again, and I got plenty of content coming over on that channel. So if you guys like that stuff, lock in. B. Preston, I think you locked in with me on social last night, and you told me you like my car stuff. So thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm ready for us to start owning the NFC East and solidify our greatness. I agree, brother. I agree. Let me share this this link to this video for those who want to watch it. Yeah, I'm up to 8,000 views. That's pretty cool. 8,100 views. Pretty sick. So let me share that with you guys. 2K followers. I'll get it up real rich. Don't worry, bro. I just started posting. There's the link. So check it out. Check it out if you're interested in that stuff. If you're not, I don't care. You can listen to me talk about the Eagles all day. I'm good with that too. Whatever is good for, whatever floats your boat, the viewers out there, I will find them. Okay. So appreciate you guys tuning in today, though. I don't want to go too long on Zander time. I mentioned I'm in my girlfriend's home, so I want to be respectful. I'm a loud person. Okay. When I speak, I'm loud. I rumble houses. My girlfriend always tells me, you don't realize how loud you are. You're a loud dude. And I'm like, really? I don't think I'm that loud. She's like, no, you just have a booming voice. So I want to be respectful of the house. All right. I want to be a little quiet. I don't want to go too long. So appreciate all of you guys watching, listening, liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting down below. I love hearing from everybody. So if you want to catch up with me, man, please reach out to me on Instagram at Zander Krause. Subscribe to my other YouTube channel if you like cars or you're interested in any of the other things I'm going to do. So do that. Check out my other channel, ZK's Garage. Follow on Twitter, Zander Krause. You can DM me, tweet at me, whatever you got. I for the most part, I answer people. All right. I try and answer everybody, but obviously it gets a little hard sometimes, but I do try and answer everybody. So I appreciate all of you guys for doing it today. Hit the like button on the way out. And I'll catch you tomorrow. We'll be officially 1 week tomorrow from the Birds reporting for training camp. So big stuff on the horizon here on JAKIB and with the Eagles season fast approaching. Appreciate all of you guys. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate inside the locker room and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.